Welcome back to Strawberry Ink. Today we're traveling back nearly 2,000 years ago into the heart of the Roman Empire to tell the story of one of the most beloved and most brutally executed martyrs of early Christianity. A woman remembered not for her faith towards God, but for her voice, her name. She was Saint Cecilia. Saint Cecilia is one of the most venerated saints in early Catholic tradition. She is celebrated today as the patron saint of music because, according to the legend, she sang to God in her heart even at the moment of her suffering. She lived in Rome sometime during the 2nd or 3rd century. The exact dates lost to history, but her story has been preserved through tradition, art, and devotion. Cecilia was forced into marriage with a pagan nobleman named Valerian. Instead of accepting the life chosen for her, she converted him to Christianity and then converted his brother as well. It was an act of faith and an act of defiance. At a time when Christianity was illegal, the Roman authorities noticed, and soon Cecilia became the next target of the empire's long, sporadic campaign of persecution. According to early Catholic accounts, the arrest began at her home. Officers of the urban prefecture, the closest fiend to Rome, city police, entered her house and took her into custody. She was taken to a jail because Rome did not have the kind of long-term detention centers that exist today. Instead, she was brought straight to the office of the urban prefect, what they called the prefectus urbi, for questioning. This was the Roman version of processing and interrogation. Her first and only formal court appearance was handled by this same official, the senior judicial authority of Rome. Tradition names him as Turquis Almachius, also recorded as Almachius or Almachius, a man known for persecuting Christians in the early 3rd century. In Roman criminal trials, there was no prosecutor. The magistrate acted as an investigator, examiner, and judge. The magistrate was this persecutor, and this office of his was the jail. There were no defense attorneys and no right representation. Cecilia would have been allowed to speak for herself, but the outcome was already determined. The only way to save her life would be to renounce her faith and sacrifice to the Roman gods. She refused to do so. Therefore, this persecutor sentenced her to death. And after sentencing, she was not given a temporary cell to appeal. There was no appellate process. Instead, she was ordered back to her home, which Roman officials turned into an execution site. Christians were often executed on their private properties, especially when local authorities wanted to avoid public disturbance and wanted their loved ones to see what occurred if they disobeyed them. The traditional account of her death is especially harrowing. The perfect first ordered an execution by suffocation. Soldiers sealed Cecilia into the bathhouse of her home and overheated it, hoping the steam and heat would silently suffocate her and end her life. However, she survived. Therefore, it was ordered that she be beheaded. Roman law limited an executioner to 3 sword blows. He struck her once, then twice, then 3 times, and still failed to sever her head. Cecilia remained alive, gravely wounded, for 3 full days, continuing to pray, continuing to sing silently to God in her heart, until she finally died around AD 230. Though her execution was ordered by Roman officials, this did not affect her from continuing to love God. This system condemned her. Saint Cecilia's death took place during a long era of persecution that came and went in waves. Similar to what has happened lately with shootings in religious places, including the assassination of Charlie Kirk, who would preach politics and the gospel at the same time. Historians estimate that over the first 3 centuries, thousands of Christians were executed across the Roman Empire. In Rome, during active crackdowns, dozens to hundreds could die in a single wave. Rulers like Nero, Valerian, and later Diocletian oversaw some of the harshest persecution. Saint Cecilia's death is believed to have occurred during the reign of Alexander Severus, a time when enforcement varied, but local officials like the prefect Almachius still ordered executions for anyone who refused to sacrifice to the gods. And so the story ends of Saint Cecilia, a woman put on trial unfairly, denied rights, denied representation, and ultimately killed in one of the most gruesome executions of early Catholic history. On the day she was arrested, they did not even allow her to take a bath. Yet, through it all, she was held in harsh conditions, but still continued holding on to her faith, her courage, and the music she carried inside her. Her legacy has outlived the empire that silenced her. And later, the Vatican would declare her a saint. She is now all around Catholic churches, including mine. Thank you for joining me on this journey into the ancient world. This is Strawberry Ink. I'll see you next time with more stories like this, as I love covering Catholic topics. I find it very interesting, and it's good that many of these stories have something to do with true crime, the genre of this show. Take care and have a good rest of your day.